Yes, yes, yes. Is this you always saying yes to everything, even when you should be like Destiny's Child and saying no, 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 no? Oh my goodness, this is a trap that many entrepreneurs fall into. I'm Kalila Reynolds, and it's time for another episode of Money Moves, JA, brought to you in partnership with EXIM Bank's Business Advisory Service, giving you the tools to grow your business. My guest today is CEO of Soul Career, Lisandra Rickards, and she's going to tell us about the importance of saying no. Hi, Lisandra.
Hi.
I can't believe this is the first time I'm having you on the show.
I can't believe it, but I'm so glad you invited me.
I'm so happy too, and I need to reciprocate and come on your show.
I am very excited that you want to be on.
Soul Career.
Yes.
Love it. All right, so today we are talking about saying no, which is a very difficult thing for especially women to say for some reason.
Yes.
Why is it so easy for us to just say yes to everything?
Well, a lot of women are pleasers. So actually, I just did this test the other day. I love psychometric tests. I use it in all of my programs. And one of them is the internal saboteurs test. And I already knew what the result of this was going to be, but for a lot of women, it's true. Pleasers as the number one internal saboteur. It's hard for us to set good boundaries as women. And beyond that, though, I find that men entrepreneurs also have a difficult time saying no early in their business, because you're trying to get as many opportunities in the door as you can. You're so focused on the top line, sales, 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 that any little sale you get, you want to bring it in the door.
Yes.
So very hard to say no for a number of different reasons across the spectrum of entrepreneurs.
What are the risks of saying yes to everything?
So the big risk, of course, is burnout. Burning out because you don't have enough systems in place to take on board everything that you're saying yes to. Your team might burn out. You might have a lot of turnover. You might feel directionless in the company if you don't really know what you're working towards. What's your strategic goal? What are your strategic plans? And you're just saying yes to everything. It can feel very chaotic. And there are some personality types, many personality types, that need structure to work at their best. Yet the visionary founder is often very chaotic, saying yes to everything, just trying to figure out where are the opportunities and let's run after them. And so that can feel like the organization doesn't have a lot of direction, especially in the early days. So these are all the risks: burning out, no strategy, turnover, team left being disgruntled, all when you're not able to know what to say yes to and what to say no to.
So you hit the nail on the head when you identified being a pleaser as a reason people say yes when they really know in their heart that they don't want to do whatever this activity is. So how do we say no? How do we turn things down? Do we have to be polite and say no and give an excuse or a reason? How do we do it?
Yes, so the first step to saying no is actually to know what to say yes to and what to say no to, just to have it very clear in your head. And in order to do that, you need to know what your end goal is. So you should have a strategic vision, a strategic plan, objectives and targets, and that will make it easier to filter all these opportunities. This goes in the yes bucket, this goes in the no bucket. So that's the first thing. Then the next thing is, okay, how do you actually say no when you filter this opportunity into the no bucket, especially as a pleaser? So for me, you have to kind of have your points or have your template response. So my template response is always, my company focuses on these three things right now, and unfortunately that project doesn't fit in with our focused area. If you have any projects that do, we'd be happy to look at it. For now, we'll have to decline that offer.
Oh, that's so nice. See, I don't feel offended when you say it like that.
No, because you have your strategic plan. So once you know exactly this is our focus, this doesn't fit in with our focus, it's much easier to say no after that, especially as a pleaser. The last thing I would talk about...
I usually just say, thank you for the opportunity, but I'm unavailable at the time.
Right? I mean, that's much more direct, you know, but if you're a real pleaser, like I'm a pleaser, so I have to say, this is our focus, it doesn't fit in, and then they're happy with that response. The hardest people for me to say no to are the people that I have a personal relationship with, or people that I want in my network because they're really good to have in your network. So people like that are sending me opportunities and I'm like, how do I say no to this big corporate bigwig? Like, can I say no to this person? And again, I really have to kind of set boundaries for myself and say, thank you so much for thinking of me. This is my focus right now, but I would be happy to work with you on something in my focus area, you know? And you just have to, especially with those big networking giants, you really want to be very good with stakeholder management with those guys.
Yes. So when you are considering that no, though, or whether it goes in the yes bucket or the no bucket, we often are very tempted to look at the monetary value attached and say, you're offering me $10 million? Yes. So whatever it is, not really what I do, but yes, because of the figure.
Yes.
So how do you filter, because the offer can be very attractive.
Yes.
And if you need the money, I mean, you will be very tempted to take it. How do you deal with that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I had a situation like that very recently, my own personal experience, so I know how hard that is. The question then becomes, is your strategy right? Right? So can I give you a personal example?
Sure.
So the first year of Soul Career, we were focused on B2C sales, one client at a time, direct to consumer. And that strategy is very difficult. You are really excellent at it with a masterclass, but it's a very difficult strategy. It's much easier, especially in this region, to sell B2B and have that be self-sustaining than to sell B2C. B2B is business to business, so selling to corporates.
And B2C, business to customer.
Exactly. And so I was saying no to corporate opportunities because my strategy was B2C. Then I had the trickle of money coming in from B2C that can't really sustain you in the long run. So I had to sit back and ask myself, and really my investors were the one who said, listen, you need to pivot to B2B. And then I was able to accept the big ticket item offers. So the $10 million opportunity that's coming, that doesn't fit in your strategy. Is it the opportunity that's wrong, or is it the strategy that's wrong? That's the first question you have to ask yourself. And then if it is the opportunity that's wrong for the strategy, the next, I'm gonna keep it real, right? This is not theory, this is real life. So the next question you have to ask yourself is, can the business survive long enough to see your strategy play out without this 10 million? Because if the business can't survive, you have to take the 10 million just to get the business up and running and to survival mode. And I had to do that in the first year of my business too, right? So I would say if you're in a cash crunch and you have a massive revenue opportunity that doesn't align with the strategy has to be survival, first of all.
True,
Right?
Absolutely.
So then you're going to say yes. But then if you can survive, and if your strategy is accurate and you can survive and the opportunity still doesn't fit in, then you have to find the strength and have your boundaries and have your little bullet points down to say no in a kind, compassionate way.
Yeah. See, I had the opposite experience to you because my business started out with B2B, so we do sponsorships for our programs, but people just keep asking, do you do any courses, do you do any training? And they kept asking for 2 years until I finally said, okay, let me develop a product specifically for you, and that's why the product has been successful so far, the B2C. The direct to
because
customer.
you built your audience first. B2C requires an audience to do really well. My audience is 10% of what your audience is. So while I'm doing a B2C strategy, I didn't fully move away to it. I still have a lot of individual clients, but I now have both strategies simultaneously, and where the dollar is where our focus is until the B2C side starts ramping up again.
Right.
So it just depends where you audience first, because you're from the media, so you had a following, right? So if you have a following, B2C is much easier. If you don't, B2B is much easier.
Yeah. Wow, those are some powerful points, Lisandra. All right, so saying no is super important. There is a book called The Year of Yes. Do you know that book?
Yes, I do.
Have you read it?
I haven't, no.
I haven't read it either, but just the concept sounds so foreign to me. Like the concept of the book is this woman decided to say yes to everything for an entire year. I should read it to find out how that played out. She's done interviews saying that it's been the best thing ever, but I just wonder about burnout with that strategy.
It sounds extremely stressful for me because I suffer from chronic burnout. First time I burned out I was working in private equity in New York many
moons ago.
Well, I'm not that old, but in previous lifetimes, I was in finance in a previous lifetime. And since that point of burnout, I have chronic burnout. Chronic burnout happens when you are an overachiever, goal-oriented, results-oriented, and you are willing to sacrifice your health, your time in order to achieve the targets. Targets come above everything else. That's how I was trained, right? And so if you are in that constant burnout cycle, you cannot say yes to everything. You absolutely cannot. I had to change my whole approach to my life where health comes before targets now. And I tell that to my team. Don't burn yourself out. Health before targets. And as a result, I could never have a year of yes. I'm very skeptical about that concept.
And mental health is included in that, not just physical health.
Exactly.
Mental health, super important. And I love that a lot of emphasis is being placed on mental health now.
Absolutely. There is a body-mind connection, right? And when your mind is racing, if you go for a walk, you can actually calm your mind down. And when you're not working out, your mind is not as sharp as it could be. I actually saw someone post this quote from Michael Lee Chin. The more responsibilities I had in my business, the more physically fit I had to get. Because the body determines how sharp you are in your mind. So you can't separate the two. You can't separate physical and mental health, in my opinion.
I don't think I've ever burned out. I think my family has always caught me when I approached that precipice and said, you gotta slow down.
Yeah. Media is tough.
Yeah.
You are constantly creating content. I was on an Instagram live that you did, and I was like, wow, you were talking about when you have an idea, you have a notebook for ideas, you have a different list for news.
It's on my phone. I have a million notes starred in my notes.
I was very impressed, and I would burn out at that content creation pace that you're on. So your threshold is much higher for burnout than mine.
It's planning. So we don't shoot every day. We batch record stuff.
Yeah.
So it seems like we're doing a lot, but we've learned how to be efficient in doing it. Anyway,
Yes.
thank you so much, Lisandra. We've got to talk again very soon.
Thank you. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Yes.
Here's a recap of Lisandra's key points. It's often hard for women entrepreneurs to set boundaries because women are natural pleasers. Saying yes to everything as a business owner causes burnout, chaos, and a potentially disgruntled team. The first step to saying no is knowing exactly what to say yes to. Make sure to have a strategic vision in your head. If you have to say no, evaluate your target audience. Is it business to customer or business to business? You must factor what your business's main focus is.
That's it for this episode of Money Moves JA, brought to you in partnership with EXIM Bank's Business Advisory Service, giving you the tools to grow your business. Check out their website, eximbankja.com, and check out my website, KalilaReynolds.com, for a summary of this episode. Till next time.
Let's get this money.